time, can think of a time when you were lied to?
It seems like a ridiculous question because I know that each and every one of you has been lied to at one point in your life. So I want you to think of one of those times. I want you to remember how you felt. Maybe it was someone you cared about that lied to you. Maybe it was a friend of yours. Maybe it was a parent. Maybe it was a teacher. I don't know who lied to you, but I know someone did. And I want you to remember how you felt when that person lied to you. So hold that for a second. Now, I want you to think of a time when someone was open with you. I want you to think of someone who was honest with you, and you know they were being straightforward, and they were telling you how they felt. Maybe what they were saying was criticism. Maybe it didn't feel so good. But even if that's the case, I bet if you compare those two experiences, the second one, the one where the person was open and honest with you, regardless of whether or not they were criticizing you, regardless of what they were saying, you felt better after that experience. And that's what sincerity does. Sincerity makes you feel better. So, when you get up and you're public speaking, you make the experience better if you're sincere about it. And that's why it's an important component that we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to give you an example of how sincerity plays into an everyday aspect of our life. The first question I have for you is something that could happen to any one of us. Maybe your friend comes up to you and she bought this dress, and the dress is ugly to begin with, and then it doesn't look good on her either. So what do? Do you tell her she looks beautiful? Because, well, you don't want to hurt any feelings, right? Do you pretend that you're getting a call or that you need to go somewhere else and ignore the question altogether and just walk away from it? You don't even have to deal with it that way. Or do you tell her the truth and risk her getting angry at you? All right, so let's look at the first option. You're going to tell her that she's beautiful. That's the right answer, isn't it? Isn't that what you guys would do? You tell her she's beautiful? Yeah? Because I think that's the right answer. What do you think? You think it's the right answer? Okay. A lot of you guys are shaking your heads. No, that's not the right answer. Good, that's good. That means we're sincere people in here. I like that. So, we're not going to tell her she's beautiful because that's straight up lying. You're going to get up here and lie to people when you public speak? I don't think so. You start lying, you lose your credibility. Nobody's going to listen to you if you're lying. Nobody. Once your audience stops listening to you, what's going to happen? There's a breakdown. And that communication, you might as well not be talking at all. All right, so let's look at B. Maybe that's the better option. Pretend that you have something else to do. Get away from the situation. Do we think that's the right answer? Okay. It's definitely not the right answer. Running away from the problem does not solve the problem. So, when you're public speaking, when you get up here, don't be afraid to talk about the issue. Don't be afraid to talk about what you want to talk about. Sometimes maybe you'll walk into a room and you know that everyone in that room believes a certain thing, and you believe the opposite. So do you not talk about it? No, you get up there and you tell them what you think. You tell them what you believe, and they'll respect you for that. All right, the last option is to tell her the truth. That is definitely the right answer. Now, why didn't we pick that to begin with? Why didn't we just all automatically skip right to that one? Well, because telling the truth is difficult sometimes. Sometimes when you tell the truth, people get angry at you. I don't know if you can all think of an experience when you gave your honest opinion about something and that person got angry at you. I know I've experienced this personally. I work at Family Video and I deal with customers all the time. And this customer came up and I was bringing up his movies and we were talking and he said to me, "Oh, do you go to the movies a lot?" And I thought he had a question. So I said, "Oh yeah, I saw the King's Speech the other night. It was really good." And he goes, "Oh, well, would you like to go to the movies with me sometime?" And I said, "No, thank you, I'd rather not." And he left, and my coworker, she looks at me and goes, "Are you kidding me? That was the meanest thing you could have said to that poor guy. That poor guy." She said, "You should have lied to him. You should have said, 'Oh, I have a boyfriend, I can't.'" So it's so much a part of our society It's so ingrained in us to lean towards lying. But it's important that we tell the truth regardless of its consequences. So let's talk about how to be sincere. How do you get up here and talk sincerely to people? You talk about what you know, and you talk about what you believe. If you believe in something passionately, then you can convey that to people effectively. That's how you speak effectively. If it's something you care about, other people will care about it too. All right, I'm going to talk about some people who were able to be sincere in their speaking because they talked about things they cared about. They talked about things that they knew about. My first example is one of the greatest public speakers in all of history. We all know who this is. It's Martin Luther King Jr. He is famous today. His legacy lives on today because of his sincerity, because he believed in what he was talking about. So I'm going to show you guys a clip of one of his most famous speeches. It's the I Had a Dream speech.
50 years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand today signed the Emancipation Proclamation.
I open my mouth to the Lord, and I won't turn back. I will go, I shall go, to see what the end's gonna be.
Whoa, who's that yonder dressed in red?
This nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream. My poor little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. Let freedom ring, and if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. So let freedom ring from the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire. Let freedom ring from the mighty mountains of New York. When we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Shall go, will go.
All right, so that was Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech. I don't know what you guys felt when you watched that, but personally, I could feel his belief in what he was talking about. I could feel his conviction. He could convince me of anything with that sincerity, and that's what you want to be able to do. If you believe it, other people are going to believe it too. And so he would talk in front of thousands of people, tons of people, all the time, and he had a lot of supporters. But then there were people who didn't support him as well. There were people who hated him for what he talked about, and he talked about it anyway. What if he got up there and he decided, well, I believe this, but I'm not going to talk about it? What if Martin Luther King Jr. said, no, you know what, I'm not going to talk about it because then I'm going to upset some people. That might be a problem. What if he had done that? History would be different. That's how